Oh no, I'm sitting in the makeup chair. That means I'm going to be talking a lot. Your foundation sets the tone for your makeup. It's the base, so I kind of mean that literally, but also figuratively, if that's the right way to use that word. But how many times have you picked the wrong one? Or just don't know which one to pick because you don't know how to pick it? Or you're like, this sounds like a good option, but I'm really not sure. I mean, it has good reviews, but I don't know. Some people say they like it, some people say they hate it. It's just like a whole bunch of like, I'm gonna help you fix that. Today I'm gonna be breaking down how you can finally find the right foundation for you. As a professional makeup artist and ex-beauty retail employee, I've gotten the privilege to know and find out kind of all of the little key points that go towards finding the right foundation for somebody. I mean, it was quite literally my job to help people find makeup, foundation being one of them. And in my pro freelance days, where I was going gig to gig, I had to be able to find a foundation for my kit that was versatile enough to fit multiple people with multiple skin types. So I've had my fair share of trial and error, trust. I broke down this process into 5 simple steps, and I'm gonna talk about those. Starting now. First things first, you need to know your skin type. You might already know this if you're in the skincare game, because if you're using skincare, more than likely you're using products that are catered to your skin type. But if you don't, the best way to find out is just how your skin behaves during the day. The main 3 skin types are oily, dry, and combination. I personally have combination skin, unfortunately. This is really important for us to know because if you have really dry skin and you go for a super mattifying foundation, it's probably just gonna separate on your face and it's just gonna dehydrate your skin like crazy, even more. So if you don't know, pay attention to your skin for a couple days, see where you build up oils. I know I have combination skin because there's certain areas of my face that get super oily while the rest stays super dry. Example, my nose will always end up being a light bulb. Apart from being shaped like one, it really likes to light up a house when I've been out and about all day. But my actual cheek area will be dry and I'll get dry patches on my skin all the time. It's just super annoying. Like, pick one already, you know? If you have combination skin, tell me below how annoying it is for you. Even if you have dry or oily skin, tell me your struggles. Comment below. This is what your skin type is going to tell us about your ideal foundation. Like I mentioned before, if you have dry skin, you're going to want something more hydrating. If you have oily skin, you're going to lean more matte. And if you have combination skin like me, what I found is usually best is a sort of satin finish, more natural finish is usually how they're described. Something that's just not too mattifying nor too glowy. So that's step 1. Find your skin type. Once you have your skin type down, we can go to step 2, which is determining what kind of coverage you are looking for or need. It's really important to be very honest with yourself when you're looking for a foundation because, like me, I've always struggled with my skin and I've always had a lot to cover. So when looking for a foundation, I can't really rely on a super light coverage foundation to cover my imperfections. That's just me being honest with myself. Even if it's like a super viral foundation or BB cream, not every single product is going to work for everybody, and that's okay. That's why there's so many. The 3 types of coverage are full coverage, light coverage, and buildable. Buildable is my favorite. To answer this question when you're thinking about it, think about your personal preference and think about anything you want to cover. For example, I know people that don't really like the feeling of heavy foundation, so when it comes to their coverage, if they don't have a lot to cover, they usually lean more light coverage because they don't really require it. So they're looking for something to even out the skin tone rather than cover up heavy blemishes. And don't get me wrong, you can have clear as day skin and still want full coverage because sometimes it's just a preference. For me, I love a full coverage foundation, love a buildable foundation, and those are the 2 I kind of teeter around. I don't really wear BB creams or CC creams or anything that's a tint. I have on occasions, but it's just not my vibe. I honestly don't feel as good in it, even for the gym. For the gym, I like to use something a little bit more lighter weight. The only reason I say that about BB creams is because anytime that I use them, because I have more things to cover, again, personal, I always end up using a lot of concealer underneath it anyways because I want it to cover. It's like kind of that thing where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna add a little bit of makeup and you end up with a full face like this. Actually, today I said I was gonna go simple and this is what I ended up with. That's just me because I'm a big glam girl. If you're a more natural girl and you just want something for every day, or you do a lot of exercise, or you're just going to the grocery store, which you can still go in a full face to the grocery store, by the way. Actually, I highly recommend it. But think about all of these factors. If you're looking for very light coverage, you're gonna want to lean towards something like a BB cream or CC cream, or just like a tint. If you have a lot to cover but still want a natural look, I would recommend a buildable foundation, meaning it starts off lighter, but you can layer it and make it a little bit more full coverage. And if you're a full beat baddie and you're like, no, I need my face covered, I want that big glam look, or even if you don't and you're just gonna pop on a lash and do a brow and a gloss, chef's kiss, by the way. Let's go for a full coverage foundation. So we have figured out our skin type and what kind of coverage we want. Now let's go to step 3. Step 3 I called ingredients. Let me explain. Ingredients are so important to look out for when you're looking for a foundation. There's 2 main ways where I think ingredients really affect a person's makeup. One, if you have any sensitivities. This kind of ties into step 1 with the skin type. If you have very sensitive skin, or you tend to break out a lot, you're gonna want to lean towards something that's a clean brand, meaning it doesn't have any harsh ingredients. Clean brands usually make it very clear that they're a clean brand or a vegan brand. So if you have very sensitive skin, I would 100% go for something that's clean. They avoid harsh chemicals, parabens, and any harsh ingredients in general. This doesn't make other brands awful, but it does mean that they're a little bit more mindful, which I love. I love clean brands. I have sensitive skin myself. I teeter-totter between non-clean brands and clean brands, but also I'm a makeup girl. I'm gonna try all the makeup. That's just my thing. They also have very transparent ingredient lists, so if you're allergic to anything, you could read that and be 100% positive that it will not affect you. I know specifically at Sephora, there's a little circle on the corner of the brand name that will tell you on the display if it's a clean brand or not. On the app as well, it'll show you in the little corner, it's a little green circle and it says clean at Sephora. That goes for skincare as well, or any product at all. It'll tell you if it's clean. If you're sensitive to fragrance, that's another reason to go clean. Of course, if you're vegan, they make it very clear what's clean and what's not. And Ulta as well. Another reason you need to be mindful for ingredients is something I saw happen a lot during my retail days is people coming in upset that their base was separating, and a lot of the time it was because they were mixing the wrong things. Example, they're using a silicone-based primer with a water-based foundation. Those don't mix. So if you combine them, they're gonna separate. Something I also learned is that a lot of brands, not all of the brands, but some of them try to cater to, for example, a brand has a foundation out, they will make a primer that is specifically made to go with that foundation in an effort to sell both products, of course. But if you take that same primer and take it to a different foundation and they don't have the same mixing medium, it might not work out. If you wear primer every day, look at the ingredients, Google what the base is, see if it's water-based, silicone-based, oil-based, and then you can use that information to make sure that your new foundation won't separate. If you have a water-based primer, use a water-based foundation. If you have silicone-based primer, silicone-based foundation. And don't be too spooked about the whole mixing ingredients thing. The only way I've really seen it mess up some makeup is usually with the primer. If you wear a primer, just make sure you're gonna use a foundation that's gonna go well with the primer. So we've determined our skin type, the coverage we want, and now we looked at our ingredients. Now let's go to step 4. Step 4 is compare and contrast. I know, what does that even mean? I'm gonna tell you. Compare and contrast means look at the products that you have used in the past and see what you liked and didn't like about them. This is gonna be important because let's say that you wore a foundation that is very matte, but it was super thick. And you didn't like that, but you still want a matte foundation. Remembering that detail is going to be important in shopping for a new one because you're going to want to make sure that when you're looking at different options, one of the key points is going to be not getting a thick foundation again. Or if you want something with very light coverage and you've tried something with light coverage before but it was too oily and dewy, the most common thing for those types of foundations are to be a little bit more glowy. So keep that in mind to be like, no, this time I want a matte one. So basically this step is kind of a small one. It's basically just saying, remember what you did and didn't like about other products you've tried. That way you won't risk running into it again, or you can easily say no to something if it's something you didn't like in the past. So we determined our skin type, we found out what coverage we want, we looked at our ingredients, we compared and contrasted other products. Now what could the 5th step possibly be? Shade match. Shade matching is one of the most important parts, obviously. Dana, I can't ever find a good match for myself. Dana, I've tried a bunch of foundations and they're never the right color. I'm gonna tell you exactly how to find your shade. It's gonna be very straightforward and very honest because this is literally the best way to find your foundation. I'm gonna say this right off the bat, don't shop online. Oh, it's such a Russian roulette type of risk to just go off on a whim and be like, this one looks like my color. Sometimes you get it right. Don't get me wrong, I've done it before. I'm human. But if you're in the market for a really good, like this is gonna be your foundation, you wanna make sure it's your shade. So if this is the first time you're shopping for it, you've never gotten it before, the best way to do it is to go in person to your local beauty retailer and go look at the different shade options. How exactly do you find a match? Step one is determining your undertone, and you can do that by looking at your veins on your wrist in natural lighting. Don't do it in the dark or under LEDs. Go under natural light, look at your veins, and it'll tell you if you're cool, neutral, or warm. If you're a cooler undertone, your veins will look a little bit more purple and blue. If you're a warm undertone, they'll look very greenish. And if you're neutral, like myself, it'll look like kind of a bluish green. I am a neutral, and neutrals are the trickiest ones in my opinion, but I've also ran into issues with every single undertone. Like I said, my job was literally to help people pick out makeup. So I picked a lot of foundations with people. I've seen cool tones run very pink. I've seen warm tones run very yellow and orange, and neutral tones run everything under the sun. Hence why I highly recommend going in person to look at the shades, because you can see it in person. I've seen neutrals that look warm. I've seen cool tones that look orange. Like, just because something says an N indicating a neutral, or a W indicating a warm, or a C indicating a cool, doesn't mean that it's going to be accurate just because of the picture. I've seen so many products where the packaging looks one way and the product itself looks completely different, or the swatches of the pictures online look nothing like the actual thing. So if you're really in the market to find like the foundation, please do yourself a favor and go in store. But before going in store, I would take all of those steps that we talked about just now, steps 1 through 4, and narrow down your list using any of the apps like Ulta or Sephora. Add some to your cart even if you're not going to check out, so that when you go into the store, you know exactly where you're going to go, and then you can compare and find the one that you like best. Because sometimes you can have 3 foundations that you're looking at, right? You'll knock one out simply because their undertones are weird and you can't find the perfect shade. I've run into brands where I can't find my shade. It just happens. That's why I love brands that have super big ranges, one being REM Beauty, I mean, are you kidding? And House Labs. A lot of brands do have a shorter range, and that's not okay in my opinion, but you know, what can I do about it? Release my own brand one day. Let's say that you went step 1 through 4, you have a couple foundations picked out and you have them saved to your cart or on your phone or screenshots or notes app, and you're like, let's say I want to look at Dior, Milani, and REM Beauty. Those are vastly different actually, but it's just an example. Well, it depends what Dior foundation, but it's just an example. So you know where you're gonna go look for. Okay, I'm here at the gondola, I'm looking at the foundations. Where do I even start? I know that I'm a neutral tone. How do I find the right one? Actually, it's not that complicated. So let's say I'm shade matching myself and I'm right in front of Milani Conceal and Perfect. Boy, did I go hard on that foundation for a really long time. That's like early high school freshman year days for me. Yeah, I was wearing that kind of coverage in those days. But here I am, I'm looking at Conceal and Perfect. I know I'm a neutral. How do I go about it? You're gonna eyeball it at first. There's ranges, so there's fair, light, medium, dark, etc, etc, etc. So there's ranges. So I would say I'm on the light side. So I'd pan my attention to the lighter shades, and then I would start to look for that magic N, neutral. And careful, because not all brands label them that way. In that case, I would go about just eyeballing it. I would pick 2 to 3 shades that look somewhat promising. I would take those shades and I would pump 1 little pump of each one onto my wrist. But we're not using our wrist to color match. This is a very important part. Never ever color match directly to your face, because we want to match our neck. We don't want a line right here. We want to look one color. Everybody is usually lighter on their face than we are on our neck. So the right spot to swatch your foundation is right here on your jawline, or right here on your neck. So I always match directly to my neck and right under here, though most of the time I do have a little foundation on here. I don't go out of the house without makeup. That's just me. If you can go without makeup, that's like the best thing. I would swatch all 3 right next to each other and go look in a mirror. From those 3, you should be able to tell which one is like an automatic no, one will be like an eh, and pretty much every single time you'll be left with that one that you're like, I think that's the one, and boom, you found her. Now, a side note I wanted to make, because I come from the beauty retail world. When you go into a beauty store, more than likely you'll be asked if you need any help, which is great because it's always really good to have a second opinion. Don't be shy to ask your beauty advisors, hey, I have these 2 shades on my neck, which one do you think looks better? And be honest about what you think. Like, you could be like, I think this one looks really orange, I think this one but this is my undertone, and blah 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 blah, but I like this brand. That's what they're there for. I used to be a beauty advisor. I loved my job. We're there. I say we, as if I still work there. I'm not a beauty advisor anymore, so I can't say we anymore. My bad. But that's what they're there for, and I promise you, most of them love their job, so don't be shy to ask for a second opinion. That's literally what you should be doing. But I will say from my experience, some stores, not to be named, at least where I used to work, sometimes they promote this device that helps you shade match. I will say, at least in my experience, I don't know how updated it is or how accurate it is now, but in my days it wasn't. What that device does, especially if you have an account with that beauty retailer, you will sign in under that account. The beauty advisor will put in your phone number and get your account, and it will basically see what you've been matched to before, and then they'll take 3 pictures of your skin, and then it will kind of narrow it down to a couple of options and different brands. Here's my thing. Every single time that I used that device, it was a little inaccurate, and I did sometimes see people just trusting it without swatching it. So if for some reason you have a beauty advisor that wants to try that device on you, they need it for the store numbers. That's like the honest truth. So that's why we were pushed. Again, me saying we. We were put. How do I? Me saying we again. I was pushed to use it because the store needed it, but I kind of just did it for the gimmick. But I still sat down with every single client, and swatched at least 2 foundations on them before sending them home with something, because you need to know if that matches you or not. So if you have a beauty advisor that is helping you and uses advice on you and they don't swatch it or suggest swatching it and just tell you to buy it, please take it upon yourself to swatch it, because I promise you it'll save you a headache. And don't be afraid to pick up a foundation in person that says warm if you're neutral, if you think it looks like your skin. That's what the swatches are for. That's why it's important to go in person, because like I said, sometimes the titles can be deceiving and they're not always that accurate. Another thing to take note when you're swatching foundations, and like I said, I really recommend that you go in person to swatch foundations before you go upon ordering online, because you could always order online your restocks. That's what I do. Another thing to look for is the time of year. Do you get lighter in the wintertime? Do you get darker in the summer? If you're a tanning girly, if you tan all the time and you always have a tan on, you want to match it to your tan that you have. You know your skin better than anybody. Make sure that you're matching to your season. I do get a little bit tanner in the summer, and I avoid the sun and I use my SPF. It's just what happens. You go outside, you're exposed to the sun. In the winter, I get a bit lighter. So those are things to be mindful of when you're looking for these foundations. I've actually seen this a lot of the time with bodybuilders, because a lot of the time they need that spray tan. So when they're doing glam for competitions, they need to make sure that that coordinates with their tan. So be mindful of what your skin looks like throughout the year and what your needs are, because you can always bring back a little bit of a darker foundation with a little bit of a lighter concealer. The things I would take away from this video are: 1, nobody knows your skin like you do. 2, be very direct about what you're looking for. Be honest and be like, no, I want full coverage, so I'm gonna get full coverage. Or I want light coverage, I'm gonna get light coverage. Factor in all of these things, answer the questions I mentioned, and you should be able to find your perfect foundation. This is actually the exact method I used to find my newest favorite foundation, which is the REM Beauty Sweetener Foundation. Oh my goodness, I am so obsessed with it. It's actually what I have on now. This is my new everyday foundation. I switch up my foundations for every video I use pretty much, except for my Makeup Forever stick. That's like my versatile everything. If you watch my makeup tutorials, you already know. So there you have it, 5 steps to your perfect foundation. Let me know if this was helpful at all. Let me know what other videos you'd like that are sort of like this, or it could be tutorials as well, because I will never stop doing my tutorials. I'm actually filming another one for you guys tomorrow. I know I took a little bit of a break and I'm sorry for that. It actually warms my heart to see that people wait on my videos. I never thought that I'd see the day that would happen. I got 2 beautiful comments saying, basically asking, where are you at? And I was like, oh my god. I was genuinely taken aback, and I was like, I need to upload now. I was going through it mentally, and it's really important to take the time to take care of yourself, but I was spiraling because of my social media not being where I want it to be. But in that, I got those beautiful comments, and also we hit 200 subscribers, and I am so beyond grateful. I remember being excited for getting 30 subscribers, so this is like a huge deal to me, and I have nothing but gratitude towards that, because this is my lifelong dream. This is a journey that's going to be a long one for sure, but I'm so happy that my videos are reaching people that genuinely enjoy them. I love seeing the feedback in my comments, and I feel like more than anything, what I wanted to get out of this is a community and build a sense of, you know, when you used to watch makeup tutorials, I remember being like 11 or 12, just looking at different makeup tutorials and I was just so intrigued by them. I was like in awe and I was like, I love that. That is so cool. The fact that I even have the opportunity to reach somebody that can possibly be in that same position, it just brings me joy. And I am a super emotional person and I cried about even the fact that people watch my videos, and my only wish is for it to continue to grow in a genuine way and to build my community of besties, because you guys are all my besties. I guess I just remembered what, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. No. I guess I just had a moment where I remembered why I wanted to do this in the first place, because beauty is what brings me joy. I think it is such a beautiful thing. I've learned throughout the years from hating makeup because I couldn't do it correctly and I couldn't cover up my pimples and it was like the worst part of my day. I turned that for myself into something that I can be creative and be happy, and instead of using makeup to hide, I use it to express myself creatively because I've always been a creative person. And I think it's so cool and beautiful that I can be confident with and without makeup now, but I can still choose to love makeup more in a healthy way because it wasn't always that way. And being able to share those types of stories and every tip and trick that I can think of and every little backstory that I can get out of my little brain and put out into a video, I am so grateful to be able to share that with anybody. If you have sat down to watch any of my videos, I deeply thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to be a person to educate, to inspire, to create, and who knows, maybe one day I'll release my own line of something. Enough ranting. Make sure that you follow me on all social platforms. On my Instagram, I post the coolest pictures of all of my looks. I just made my Substack debut, which I'm so excited about. I did the backstory of my look Phantom Kiss. It's actually a look that I have up on my channel. So basically my Substack is to give you the why in my makeups. I always have a why. It could be as silly as being inspired by a movie, a song, or it could be something deeper. This first one is something deeper, and I would encourage you to read it if you're into reading and like to see the story behind things. I also accompany it with other pictures that didn't make it onto my Instagram, so if you're into photography and all that, which I love editing my pictures, I love taking my pictures. The videography and all of that is all part of the process, and the process is so beautiful, and I've learned to love the process. So if you want all those little extra tidbits, please go onto my other socials. I'm Dana Belen on all platforms, including my TikTok. And also I have debuted my Reels on Instagram. So if you want to see how I did this look, it's actually going to be up on my Reels. And if you go on my Instagram and comment a white heart under any of my posts, I'll know that you came from my video and I will follow you back. Anyways, make sure you hit like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video. And if you want to see more educational videos like this, I have a lot in my little brain to share about makeup, so definitely let me know what you want to know. Ask me all your questions because I really want to do a Q&A. Please put them down in the comments and I would love to answer them in a video. I love you guys so much and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye besties.